Chapter 2, When Dawn Broke Red. Under attack. The message comes at 5:07 a.m. on February 24. Ivan is already awake, having spent the night monitoring his team's deployment of a critical software update. The text from Nadya is simple: turn on the news. His television screen fills with images that seem pulled from some terrible dream. Missile strikes. Explosions illuminating the pre-dawn sky. The capital under attack. His hands shake as he dials his parents' number, relief flooding through him when his mother answers on the first ring. "We're already in the car," she says, her voice steady despite everything. "Your father is driving us to the dacha. Please, Synu, come with us." But Ivan knows he can't. His sister-in-law and their young nephew live just 3 blocks away, and his brother is already deployed with his unit. "I'll check on Maria and little Kolyar," he promises instead. Across the city, Nadya stands on her balcony, phone pressed to her ear as she tries repeatedly to reach her best friend Natasha in Kharkiv. The horizon pulses with distant detonations, each flash followed by a deep, resonant boom that seems to shake the very foundations of the city. Her cat, Zerka, huddles against her legs, trembling. Zerka, starred in Ukrainian, is a sleek Siamese mix with striking blue eyes that seem to capture the same thoughtful intensity as her owners. Her coat is primarily cream-colored with darker seal point markings on her face, ears, paws, and tail, the classic mask that gives her an air of mystery and elegance. Medium-sized and lithe, Zerka moves with the graceful precision characteristic of her breed. She has a slightly triangular face with high cheekbones and large, alert ears that swivel to catch every sound, a trait that becomes particularly pronounced during air raids. The sunrise, when it comes, feels like a betrayal, too beautiful for such a day, painting the smoke-streaked sky in shades of crimson and gold. Nadya photographs it instinctively, her photographer's eye unable to ignore the terrible magnificence. Later, this image will appear in international newspapers, captioned simply, "Dawn, Kiev, Day 1. By mid-morning, the streets have transformed. Gone is the casual bustle of everyday life, replaced by a strange choreography of crisis. Lines form at ATMs and grocery stores. Cars packed with belongings stream toward the western exits of the city. Air raid sirens become the city's heartbeat, their wail now carrying none of the routine familiarity of practice drills. Shelter. Ivan and Nadya meet at noon, not at their usual cafe, now shuttered and sandbagged, but in the basement of Ivan's apartment building, which the residents are converting into a shelter. She arrives with her laptop and a bag full of power banks. He's brought water bottles and his first aid kit. Neither mentions the tears in the other's eyes. Nadya and Ivan's paths cross under the dim, flickering lights of the basement as it reverberates with the muffled sounds of the world above. A palpable sense of determination mingles with the raw emotion in the air as they stand facing one another, silently taking in each other's presence. Nadya, her heart heavy yet resolute, clutches her laptop and bag of power banks, evidence of her intention to stay connected and hopeful. Ivan's eyes reflect his inner strength and concern, his hand steady on the water bottles and first aid kit is brought along. Unspoken words hang in the air as they attempt to muster the courage to speak. The weight of their shared reality brings tears to both their eyes, expressions of vulnerability and resilience shining through as they nod in acknowledgement of the tasks ahead. As the reality of their situation settles in, they begin the process of preparing their makeshift shelter, their initial sadness slowly giving way to a determined teamwork. The basement, once a cold and uninviting space, starts transforming into a refuge through their combined efforts and silent understanding of the road ahead. Snake Island. Natasha finally called back, Nadya says as they help arrange chairs and blankets. She's heading for the metro station with her parents. The bombing, her voice catches. The bombing is worse there. Ivan nods, thinking of his own team members scattered across the country. "Half my developers are already in Poland or headed to the border," he says. The others, he trails off as his phone chimes with another message. His face goes pale. "What is it?" "Ostrov's Mini is Snake Island," he whispers, showing her the message. They read together about the small garrison of border guards facing down a Russian warship, their defiant response already spreading across social media networks like wildfire. Despite everything, they share a moment of fierce pride. Ivan's phone glows in the dimness of the shelter. The message that appeared in his IT company's emergency channel is brief, but its impact ripples through him like a shockwave. He reads it aloud to Nadya, his voice barely above a whisper. Russian warship approaching Synu Island. Border guards, they're live streaming. Together, they huddle over his phone, watching as the drama unfolds on various social media channels. Ostrov Synu, Snake Island, a mere 0.17 square kilometers of rock rising from the Black Sea, has suddenly become the focus of the world's attention. The tiny garrison of 13 Ukrainian border guards, faced with a Russian warship multiple times the size of their entire island, is about to enter history. Through fragmented audio clips and messages, they piece together the exchange. The Russian warship's demand for surrender crackles through their devices. This is a Russian warship. I propose you lay down your arms and surrender to avoid bloodshed and unnecessary victims. Otherwise, you will be bombed. Nadya grips Ivan's arm as they wait for the response. When it comes, the Ukrainian border guard's reply is so bold, so quintessentially Ukrainian, that despite the grimness of the situation, Ivan feels a surge of fierce pride. Russian warship, go fuck yourself. Tak yohodva, Nadya shouts, tears in her eyes. That's how you do it. The shelter has grown quiet as others gather around, phones and tablets illuminating determined faces in the dim light. Someone begins streaming a live news feed. The tension is palpable as they watch the Russian warship open fire on the small island. My grandfather, an elderly man, speaks up from the corner, his voice thick with emotion. He was a sailor in the Black Sea Fleet. He used to tell me stories about Synu. Said it was sacred ground. The ancient Greeks believed Achilles himself was buried there. Ivan finds himself reaching for his laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard as he begins archiving every piece of information, every video clip, every tweet. As a programmer, he knows the importance of preserving digital evidence. They need to remember this, he mutters. The whole world needs to remember. Nadya, who has been rapidly translating updates into English for her international blog followers, suddenly gasps. Initial reports are claiming all 13 guards have been killed. The shelter falls silent, the only sound the distant thud of explosions above and the soft weeping of a woman in the corner. They chose death over surrender, someone says softly in Ukrainian. They died as heroes. But Ivan notices something in Nadya's expression, a familiar look he's seen when she's working on a particularly challenging translation. What's up, Nadyezhda? He asks. Ivan doesn't normally call Nadya with her born name Nadyezhda, a form that endears formality and respect. But that moment seems appropriate to amplify the meaning of her name, hope. Something feels, she pauses, searching for the right words. The last transmission. The way it cut off. I don't think this is the end of the story. Her intuition would prove correct in the days to come, when the world would learn that the guards had, in fact, survived, been captured, and would later be freed in a prisoner exchange. But at this moment, in the basement shelter, their defiant stand serves as a rallying cry, a symbol of Ukrainian resistance against overwhelming odds. An older woman begins humming Oi you luzy chervona kalina, the centuries-old Ukrainian folk song about the red kalina bush, a viburnum evergreen, symbol of Ukraine's independence. Others join in, the melody swelling in the darkness, carrying with it centuries of Ukrainian resilience. Ivan looks at Nadya, seeing in her eyes the same determination he feels building in his chest. The guards of Snake Island, whether dead or alive, have shown them something crucial, that even the smallest resistance matters, that dignity and defiance in the face of overwhelming force have a power all their own. Only the beginning. We should document everything, Nadya says suddenly, opening a fresh document on her laptop. Not just the facts, but how it felt to be here, in this moment. The world needs to understand what it means to be Ukrainian. Ivan nods, thinking of his brother somewhere out there in the darkness, defending their homeland. For the history books, he agrees, but they both know it's more than that. It's for the future, for the story of Ukraine that they refuse to let anyone else write for them. Above them, another explosion rocks the city, closer this time. But in the shelter, the singing continues, a quiet act of defiance echoing that of 13 border guards on a tiny island, standing firm against the darkness gathering around them. The afternoon brings more people to the shelter. An elderly couple from the 5th floor arrive with their grandson, a university student who switches effortlessly between Ukrainian, English, and French as he helps coordinate with international journalists online. A pregnant woman from the neighboring building brings her laptop, continuing to work remotely for her IT company even as the sounds of anti-aircraft fire echo overhead. As evening approaches, Nadya receives a call from her grandmother in Bucha. "The Russians are coming," the old woman says matter-of-factly, as if commenting on the weather. "But don't worry about me, Dacha. I survived the Holodomor as a child. I survived the Nazis. I'll survive this too." After hanging up, Nadya sits in silence for a long moment, then opens her laptop and begins to write, documenting everything. Night falls early in the Ukrainian winter. In the shelter, someone has brought down an old radio, and the voice of President Zelensky fills the room. "I am here. We are not putting down arms." The words seem to straighten spines and lift chins around the room. Ivan finds himself reaching for Nadya's hand in the darkness. She grips back tightly. "I should be doing more," he mutters, the words meant only for her. "My brother is out there fighting, and I'm just sitting here." Nadya turns to him, her face lit by the blue glow of her laptop screen. "You think keeping people connected, keeping their systems running, isn't fighting? You think documenting the truth isn't fighting?" Her voice grows stronger. "There are many ways to defend our home, Ivan Alexandrovich. We'll find ours." Above them, the sound of explosions draws nearer, and the basement lights flicker. Someone starts singing softly, an old folk song about a red kalina. Others join in, the melody swelling in the darkness, a reminder of who they are, what they stand for. Ivan and Nadya's voices blend with the others, and in that moment, despite the fear and uncertainty, they feel the first stirrings of something that will carry them through the dark days ahead, the unshakable belief that light will eventually triumph over darkness, that Ukraine will endure. But first, they must survive the night. And this night, they both know, is only the beginning.